We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. The family of a transgender volleyball player has added the Broward schools as a defendant in a federal lawsuit that challenges the 2021 state law banning transgender girls from playing on female sports teams. Where will this go?
Stonewall National Museum to honor Diana, Nyad, and other LGBTQ+ trailblazers at this year's annual gala on February 24th. The theme is Standing on the Shoulders of Heroes and is celebrated with Annette Bening starring in Nyad.
While we remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his contributions to the American Civil Rights Movement, let us also know and respect King's architect for that movement, the Black gay activist Bayard Rustin.
Mark your calendar for the Hollywood Pride 2024 commencing on January 26th with the unique Circle of Pride networking event at Sunset Club. It celebrates the LGBTQ+. Pride is more than rainbow capitalism.
Alligators, crocodiles, and monster pythons are at home in the famous Florida Everglades. But now, two gay men move into the heart of the River of Grass, offering hotel accommodations, restaurants, and yes, drag shows. They prove we are everywhere.
Yes, we are. Good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Monday, January 15th, 2024, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
Hello everyone, I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, FayWhat? And this evening we bring you the news of and perspective representing the LGBTQ+ community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in the LGBTQ+ news, you'll see it and hear it here.
Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ+ community. Our mission is to support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students, youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS, healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ+ and broader community.
So let's begin by meeting these incredible anchors. Let's begin with Dr. Edward Summers. He's the executive director of Prideline's Miami's LGBTQ Community Center. Dr. Summers was also the founder and CEO of the New York-based nonprofit, The Thinkubator. Welcome back. I'm not going to call you Dr. Summers. You're Edward to me.
Just Ed. Yeah, come on.
What up,
yeah.
Ed? How are you, puppy? How you doing?
Good, good. It's good to be here on this Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Prideline's, I just want to big shout out to Prideline's. We have the AIDS Walk coming up, the Florida AIDS Walk in March. So we have a number of events and programs that we'll be hosting in honor of the AIDS Walk. So look to our website, look to our social media.
Yes, I love it.
Awesome.
Let's welcome Dale Stine, a celebrated photographer in the LGBTQ+ community. He's also the director of music ministry at the famous Unity on the Bay and a moderator of Miami Gay List, South Florida's largest LGBTQ+ Facebook group, which can also be found on IG now at Queer List Official. Welcome back, Dale. How are you,
It's
puppy?
great to be here. It's been like 2 months since I've been here, so
Yes.
it's wonderful to be around the table with all of your 2 months.
So happy holidays,
Happy
New
holidays.
Year, right? All of that.
All of that.
back.
Yeah, thanks. Great to be here.
And let's welcome back Robert Kesten. Robert believes in universal human rights and has dedicated crucial years of his life to the integration of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights around the world. He conceptualized the UN Decade of Human Rights Education and is now the ED of Stonewall National Museum, Archives, and Library. Welcome back, Robert. How are you, honey?
All right, thank you.
Good to see
And
you.
you'll be talking a bit about our gala, so I'm not going to talk about that. But today we just announced our Stonewall in Stonewall which are building a replica of the Stonewall Inn from New York inside, where you will be able to actually walk into the Stonewall bar in our building. And we will be celebrating that as part of June and Pride Month 2024. So you'll be able to come to Stonewall in Stonewall and be part of history.
And what do you get at the door? A brick or a shotgun?
Brick, right. Can we throw bricks at DeSantis?
Actually, what they did is they gave out pennies, and because pennies back in 1969 were all copper, they would go, copper! Throwing them, sort of a New York police term.
I love that. So I can bring all my pennies down.
So you can bring all your pennies, and that will be part of our fundraising.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. All right, so make sure you go to that. I definitely have to go to that for sure. Next up, let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro. Gregg's 9th book, Refrain in Light, was selected for the Poetry Mutual 10 Best Poetry Books of 2023. His entertainment coverage, including celebrity interviews, runs in a variety of print and online publications. Welcome back, Gregg. Are you interviewing anybody fun coming up?
Oh God, I just did a great interview with an amazing graphic memoirist named Maurice Velacoup. That's already running a couple of my outlets. Great memoir called "I'm So Glad We Had This Time Together." So it was it's really sweet. Yeah.
He sounds like a sweet.
He's a doll. Yeah.
I love that. So, folks, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today.
Let's begin with breaking news. Historic Smart Ride raises $16.4 million and surprise announcement, 2024, the Smart Ride, the reunion cruise and ride. Presentation ceremony at Hunters in Wilton Manor. That was the total of 20-year history of the nation's largest LGBTQ plus HIV/AIDS charity bike ride that has given 100% of those funds to LGBTQ plus nonprofits in South Florida and Florida. Smart Ride 20 was the final ride. The emotional ceremony was hosted by founder and executive director Glenn Weisemer. City Commissioner Chris Caputo read a proclamation recognizing Smart Ride's incredible achievements. Hundreds attended a celebration brunch. The check presentation included the 6 major beneficiaries, including South Florida's Broward House, Pride Lines, Compass, A.H. Monroe, Orlando's Miracle of Love, and Tampa Bay's Empath Epic. The 6 beneficiaries received between $200,000 and $300,000 each in both giant symbolic check and the actual check itself. The fantastic news was bittersweet. The beneficiaries announced that they would announce in February there would be some form of a shorter day ride from Key West in mid-November. A video was played of the first announcement of an international fun ride event called the Smart Ride Reunion at Sea. The event will include a cruise and short rides in each port and sails, November 9th.
More than $16 million has been raised for countless organizations in our LGBTQ+ community. So let's keep it going. Today we're happy to announce the next Smart Ride, the Smart Ride Reunion at Sea. That's right, it's a unique combination of a fun cruise and smart rides for riders and shore excursion and transportation for volunteers and supporters in every port. The 8-day cruise is November 9th to 16th, 2024, sailing from Miami on the brand new 170,000-ton 5-star MSC Seascape. This incredible ship will be home to Smart Ride's Reunion at Sea. Happy hours, special parties, and dining events will highlight the cruise. The international ride allows you to bring your bike aboard and will include Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic, including a 5-mile fun ride. Stops include admission to the highest cable car in the Caribbean, historic sightseeing, and a shoreside pool reunion party with refreshments. Not a rider? No problem. Shore excursion transportation is included to all the stops for our Smart Ride guests. Next, visit San Juan, where the 5-mile fun ride includes Old San Juan with stops and admissions at San Cristobal Castle and our Pirates of the Caribbean theme and party including El Morro Castle. You also enjoy a 2-mile ride at the best private island in the world at Ocean Cay Marine Reserve with a special beach party and lunch. A farewell nighttime beach party will include bonfires, DJ and beach dance, and a roar on the shore, complete with a lighthouse rainbow LED show. Best of all, Smart Ride Reunion at Sea starts at just $469, plus government taxes and fees. You can make reservations for just $1, and a special interest-free payment of $99 a month makes the cruise affordable for all. When you sign up, you can pledge support to any of the 6 Smart Ride beneficiaries, and throughout the year, we can again pledge our financial support to these vital LGBTQ+ community organizations. You're the first to hear the new announcement of the Smart Ride reunion at sea. Join us for 20 years of memories of the historic ride to Key West. You can continue to do good and have a great time while doing it.
So yesterday was great. It was definitely a monumentous day for many of the agencies, the beneficiaries who received funding. Pride Lines was one of them. We received our biggest check in the 10 years that we've participated, and those dollars goes towards direct service.
Okay, say how much slowly.
Okay, so Pride Lines received over $200,000.
Oh my God!
And we were expecting. Last year we got about 129, and we're expecting about that same amount. So literally, these dollars will support critical services in Miami-Dade County. We do a lot of work with LGBT youth, particularly homeless youth, and those impacted, of course, by HIV/AIDS. We have a whole testing operation.
Is the testing operation in the city, in the old city, on the premises of your office?
Yes. So we're right now in Miami Beach. We'll have an announcement soon enough about being back in the city of Miami for Pride Lines. It was one of my commitment to the community. So these funds will definitely help our organization. I think what was also critical about yesterday's event was that the 6 beneficiaries realized that Smart Ride is really critical to the community. Mm-hmm. It's not only about raising the funds, but it's about raising awareness, because we still are saying names, quite frankly. And I think there's this misnomer that the virus is done and we don't have any more work to do. We have a lot of work to do in so many different communities. So the 6 beneficiaries announced that we will do another ride. So while it's not going to be the Smart Ride, because that name's going to be retired, what we're going to do is call it Bike It for Life, which is the original name of the Smart Ride.
My God,
so we're going back to the beginning, right? We're going back to the beginning, going back to basic. Right now, we think it's going to be a one-day ride, but realistically, it's going to be down in the Keys. So it's going to be a 2-day event, right? It's going to be a whole weekend event. So it's going to be the weekend of the 22nd, 23rd. We are November. Sorry, November. Sorry, thank you. November. So right after the cruise that was announced here. So we're going to do that, and we'll have more details to come. But we've heard overwhelmingly from the community that they want the Smart Ride back. Yeah. And so we are committed to putting it back on because it's too important to like.
Yeah, people. I mean, I saw all the people posting about people were like Chris Caputo's video. People are devastated.
Yes, yes, but understand that, like, you know, I was blessed enough to go down there last year, right, for the last Smart Ride.
To drive,
and
be driven.
Gail sends me a text saying, "You're the smartest girl I've ever met in my life."
On the Smart Ride.
On the Smart Ride.
She's doing the smartest ride.
I'm getting driven from location to location. I wasn't going to ride a bike.
She comes out like,
right? I look perfect. But these people had ridden for 20 years. A lot of people had ridden for people that they had lost. A lot of people were riding for people that they used to ride with that they've lost. You know, this is a family. This is 20 years, folks. And going back to Glenn Weinzimmer, right? The mastermind of it all. So Glenn, you know, over 20 years ago was diagnosed with HIV and was given 6 months to live. 6 months to live. Here we are a million years later, and that old goat ain't going nowhere. Okay? And Smart Ride kind of goes through his blood. He eats, lives, and breathes Smart Ride, even still to this day. Even after mentioning his retirement, even after all of this. I was just like, yeah, that's it. That's the last year about Smart Ride, for sure. I knew it wasn't going to be. It couldn't be.
Also fabulous that it's so intergenerational.
Yeah.
That and just that's a phenomenal thing and a way to carry on a legacy.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's going to be great. And what I loved, this is my first year doing Smart Ride. What I loved about it was the community that built among the 6 agencies all throughout Florida.
And who are the 6 again? It's Pride Lines Compass.
Pride Lines Compass, Broward House, Empath, Miracle of Love, and A.H. Monroe. Literally, the staff among these organizations are a family. They are a community, and it was just amazing to see the way they operate and communicate, and the way that they embrace each other. And so we're excited to continue this journey. There is a lot of work to the Smart Ride. There's so much work that these agencies do leading up to the Smart Ride. I mean, literally, it's weekly calls, it's retreats. So I'm excited about all the work too, because I get to build this extended family now with these other organizations. So we're very much looking forward to it. And we're looking forward to, again, raising awareness, which is really important about the virus is still here. Yeah. And particularly in Miami, where Pride Line sits, it is still ravaging communities.
Well, and you know,
Broward, South Florida is one of the worst places
the highest
in
number.
the country and in the Western world.
Right.
Scary. Okay, so the most important question that I have for you, Edward, is how do you cash that big ass check?
It's going in a big.
Deposit that thing. How do you take that picture of it?
Well, thank God they gave us a real check too.
Okay.
So they gave us the big one in the real check.
Back
symbolic
up.
check. Yeah.
Where it says move closer. Like, damn.
Yeah. No, it's amazing, and I'm excited about what these funds could do to support our community.
And when it clears, it's going to be even better.
Oh, it's going to be even better. It's going to be great.
Congratulations, Poppy. Incredible. And congratulations to everyone associated with the Smart Ride, Glenn Weinzimmer, everyone. You folks are incredible. Next, let's queer up trans rights. Family of Monarch High transgender student sues Broward schools. Monarch High School is just 20 minutes from the studios of Happening Out Television Network. The family of a transgender volleyball player at the center of a controversy at Monarch High is once again suing the Broward School District, saying the district's recent actions have threatened their safety. An amended complaint filed in federal court on Friday continues to challenge a 2021 state law banning transgender girls from playing on girls' sports teams. But it also adds the Broward School Board, the school superintendent, and Florida High School Athletic Association. In an early November ruling, U.S. District Judge Roy Altman had sided with the state, saying it had a right to enforce the law known as the Fairness in Women's Sports Act. But he allowed the family to file an amended complaint. Since then, the school district has launched an internal investigation into the students' participation at Monarch High. That investigation is scheduled to be completed by late February. The student and her family are being represented by lawyers with the Human Rights Campaign. The concerned trans student hasn't attended Monarch since November 27th, the day the district launched the investigation, and is taking classes online. The family is asking the judge to rule that the law violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. It's also asking to be awarded nominal damages as well as cost, expenses, and reasonable attorney's fees. Queer News Tonight has been following this story since the beginning, and we will ensure you stay updated on every important development in this vital legal fight. You know, I have to be, and I agree 100%. Listen, you put this girl's life in jeopardy, all right? She was out to her family, but she was not out in school. And once this was found out, whoever the Karen that leaked it, right, was, then the whole entire school put a target. Then they put a target on this girl's back, you know, immediately. So I really do, I really do that justice is served, and she doesn't get just a nominal amount of money, that she gets some boku bucks because she deserves it. Yeah. You know?
Well, it's interesting to be doing this story tonight as the Iowa caucuses are taking place, and our insidious governor is in the spotlight. In a few hours, we should have a better idea how many Republicans actually support his hateful anti-LGBTQ platform. Hopefully zero.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, talk about the disruption of her life and the fact that she has to take classes online now. I mean, it's just pretty terrible here. And to that Karen who leaked it, shame on you.
She hasn't been in school for that's like 6-7 weeks. Right. Well, the holidays happened, but still. And to not be able to go to school because you're fearing for your life. Yeah. I mean, it's just.
Well, and high school is such a pivotal time in a kid's life, you know, like she was obviously like involved in school. She had friends. She was part of sports.
She was on the team,
you know,
which is
just messed up her schooling.
Well, the question is also, what are they investigating? Why?
Right.
And why does an investigation take from November to the end of February for a high school student? It smacks of real impropriety. I understand that the public schools are in a very uncomfortable situation, having to carry out by law, the law, but at the same time, it is time for people in leadership positions like superintendents and boards of education to stand up for students and families and call the governor out or call other people out who are responsible for putting other people at risk. Government is expected and should protect people, not put them in jeopardy. And an investigation only calls attention in possibly the worst possible way to a situation that should be handled more diplomatically and more humanely.
Completely. I mean, the coaches and even the superintendent, even the principal were reassigned. Okay, they got to continue with their lives like nothing, while she can't.
She's not.
No.
All right, we'll continue to follow this story for sure.
Yeah. Next, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Stonewall National Museum Gala 2024 honors Diana Nyad February 24th. The 2024 Stonewall National Museum Gala will be held on Saturday, February 24th at the Venue in Wilton Manors. The evening will feature a cocktail reception featuring delicious hors d'oeuvres, an open bar, and a fabulous silent auction. And more festivities include dinner with an open bar, entertainment, awards, and a live auction. Over 500 guests and VIPs are expected to attend this extravaganza. The Gala is also Stonewall's largest fundraising event, generating almost 50% of the organization's operating funds. This year's Stonewall Gala has a theme of standing on the shoulders of heroes, and the list of honorees justifies this grand theme. The honorees of the Stonewall National Museum Gala 2024 include marathon swimmer Diana Nyad, who became most famous for her swim at the age of 64 between Havana and Key West. Also recognized is Stacy Ritter, CEO of Visit Lauderdale, who has shown unfading commitment to the LGBTQ+ community. Stonewall celebrates the stars of The Stroll, an HBO documentary by Kristen Lovell. Xander Moritz will be the special guest at the gala. Diana Nyad is very topical going into the Stonewall Gala. Her story is featured in a new major motion picture starring Annette Bening and Jodie Foster in Nyad. The lesbian sports star created international headlines for the cageless swim. The tickets to the Stonewall Gala start at $350. Hotspots Happening Out Hotspots Happening Out Television Network are the presenting LGBTQ+ media sponsors of the Stonewall Museum. Further information is available on stonewall-museum.org. Well, it sounds like a very, very exciting event, and I love that Diana Nyad is being so perfectly honored. And it's, as it said in the story, it's so topical and on point because the film is fabulous. And I think it's a wonderful thing. It looks to be an amazing event. And kudos to you.
Right. And how perfect it is that we have Robert here, you know, the head honcho over there at Stonewall. Is Diana nice?
Diana is a personality.
Yeah, I don't think she's intended to be nice.
No, she doesn't, you know what? Here's the thing. She doesn't have to be nice, folks. I just, you know what I mean? I still want to see her.
It's just interesting because after her swim, she wasn't going to be doing those kinds of swims anymore. She was 65 by the time this whole thing is over. And it took her 5 tries before she could make it. That determination is what makes her so amazing. Doing the swim is unbelievable. But the fact that she did not give up is a testimony to the people in our community. But in addition to that, she stopped swimming in a professional manner, and she and Bonnie, her friend, one-time partner, started this program about walking. And they now have set up walking programs across the United States, getting people out of their houses into the street and walking. And they've done it in Washington, they've done it in Los Angeles, they've done it all over. And so it's this commitment to people that makes her so uniquely special, is that she wants people to be healthy, she wants people to be out, and she wants people to do things communally. Let's walk together.
So she wants everybody to walk with their exes. I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. I can't do that. But
does Annette Bening do a really good job of portraying her based on? Because the film, I love the film. The film was phenomenal.
Annette Bening does a portrayal that is definitely Oscar worthy. It's because
I didn't know.
It's just unfortunate that there are so many amazing performances now. But Annette Bening does the swimming. Annette Bening plays Diana Nyad as if she was Diana Nyad.
It felt that way, like she was embodying her.
She completely did. She got the voice down. She got the look down. You know, the no makeup, the athlete's body. It's striking. And then Jodie Foster is always brilliant. So the combination of those two working together is really, really the best that Hollywood can put out.
Well, that's
unfortunately, right now, I'm just imagining Annette Bening having sex with Jodie Foster, but I'm trying to bring that back a second. Okay.
And how does that?
No, it would work really well.
Okay.
Except for Jodie Foster's wife probably wouldn't.
You probably might have an issue with that, but you know, anything for an Oscar.
What do they call that? Method acting? Yeah.
Stanislavski.
Okay, so your gala's going to be superb. It's going to be fabulous. 500 people, 300 people. That's a lot of people.
It better be a lot of people.
Wow. Okay. What are you feeding me?
I do not know what the menu is at this particular moment.
Delicious.
But it will be good. You know that they provide very good food. And more importantly than food, it is an open bar all night. So from the minute you get there till the time you go home, it's an open bar. I understand as a non-drinker that is important to people who drink.
Yeah, that's a big sell, especially in Wilton.
Well, hopefully people will. so far, the tables that we've sold are from people way outside Wilton. AARP is coming, and a bunch of other corporate sponsors and big nonprofit sponsors. So, but we need people, and we need people from the community to say that they think that having Stonewall here is important. And the library and the archives are unique in the world, and they are based here.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. People are always surprised when we tell them that we have home base right here.
And unless the community really comes out and supports us, that is a real big problem, since museums, libraries, archives who are local, not national as we are, in New York or California, get government support at a very high level. The New York Museum that hasn't opened and will not open for another 2 years already got $10 million from the federal government because they have Chuck Schumer and Jerry Nadler.
Right.
We have, I will say that they are nameless, and one of them just endorsed Mr. Trump yesterday. So they are not going to stand up for us, and they are not going to stand up for us as a driver of tourism into South Florida. We bring people here, and we need the support of the community to stand up where the government falls down.
Well, and Dale said that it was, if not your biggest fundraiser of the year.
It is definitely. Aside from this fundraiser and a new one we instituted later last year, we do only free events. So about 100 events that we did last year were free.
Wow.
And we can only do that with the kind of support that we got from last year's gala. And hopefully, the community will step up and help us give back.
So the call of action is that this gala is important in order to be able to provide all these 100 events.
And
so
you
attend.
And you have, wait a second, he has $200,000, so he can buy at least one ticket. At least one ticket.
I'm coming. I'm going to come, Robert.
He's coming.
I'm committed.
He's already got his suit ready.
I'm ready.
Get your tickets at stonewallmuseum.org. They do so much good for the community. Like, those 100 events, I have been blessed to be part of a couple of them. Thank you so much, Robert, for always inviting me. I was part of an addiction panel. I was part of a Women's History Month panel. He's always doing something for our community. So go follow them on social media. And if you can't attend the gala, send them some money anyway. That works also.
And I'm going to announce something here. For the first time, nobody knows. Faye?
Yes.
Would you be willing to do our call at the end of the event, asking people to donate money?
Like on
the ask?
I'm asking you at the table.
Can I answer after?
You can answer whenever you want, but I just want everybody in America to know that we've asked Faye to do the call of asking people to contribute.
I'm not.
She's great at it.
I'm not doing it. I'm not good at asking money. I'm good at wearing the dress and telling people there's the QR code, like Vanna Brown.
Wait, you already just asked, so you can do it. You're good. You're great.
We'll talk about it after the show. Damn you, Robert.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot.
On that note,
we need somebody who everybody knows. And when she even went to see Vicki Lawrence, everybody knew her. And that's the person that we need.
FayWhat? Wow. Anyhow, let's queer up Black culture now. Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Day, can't forget Bayard, Rustin. Monday, January 15th, celebrates the birthday of celebrated civil rights leader Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. No figure is more closely identified with the mid-20th century struggle for civil rights than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His adoption of nonviolent resistance to achieve equal rights for Black Americans earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. But there was another Black hero of the civil rights movement which never received due recognition until recently when Netflix launched a movie based on his life. The movie was Rustin, and the unsung hero is Bayard Rustin, who organized the famous 1963 March on Washington where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his historic speech, I Have a Dream. Rustin was also a gay man for which he was forced to live with the constraints and prejudices of the time, including beatings and arrest. In 1953, he spent 50 days in jail and was registered as a sex offender after being discovered having sex in a parked car in Pasadena, California. But he refused to hide his sexuality. After the split from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s civil rights movement, Rustin went on to serve as president of the A. Philip Randolph Institute, a civil rights organization in New York from 1966 to 1979. Rustin was en route to Memphis for the April 3, 1968 MLK protests. Before he could arrive, Dr. King was assassinated. Later in life, he turned his attention to the LGBTQ plus activism and its intersection with the continuing civil rights struggle. He was the first to bring the AIDS crisis to the attention of the NAACP. Rustin died in 1987 at age 75 in New York City. In 2013, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, produced by Barack Obama and Michelle Obama's Higher Ground Productions, and directed by George C. Wolfe. Netflix Rustin is a must-watch movie. Rustin history is a celebration of the incredible contributions that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has had on the fabric of America and American civil rights.
What do you want? I'm here to see Dr. King.
Nelson, who is it?
Good evening, Mrs. King. Bayard Rustin.
Bayard Rustin.
Excuse me.
Well, if Bayard Rustin is here, then I guess we've arrived.
Dr. King, I'm gonna be blunt. You're straying from the principles of nonviolence.
In what way?
You're the leader of a nonviolent movement, and yet you have guns in your home and these armed guards outside.
Let me ask you something, Mr. Rustin. Would you risk your family for a tactic?
Nonviolence is not a tactic.
Would you risk your family?
Nonviolence is an ideology.
I have an obligation to protect my family and defend my
religion.
home.
Well, the guns don't make me feel any safer.
Just a disclaimer, that clip was not from the actual movie Rustin. It was actually from Boycott, but it was a scene with Bayard Rustin in it. I think this is great. I think Netflix, kudos to Netflix for recognizing an unsung hero. Yeah. We have so many in the civil rights movement that because Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King was who he is, he overshadowed so many other leaders. And so kudos to Netflix for doing this. Rustin is a great Netflix movie. I watched it. I loved it. And kudos to somebody who's gay, who was gay back then and who had the courage to do what he did and to still forge ahead despite, being jailed, being labeled as a child molester, a sexual offender. He still forged ahead. What I love about it too was back then he had some interracial relationships, which I think is great back in those days.
For the time he was
everything. Oh, he was pushing it all.
He was not accused of being a child.
I'm sorry.
That's important. Also, and this clip was good in the sense that it showed that Rustin was the person who brought nonviolence to the King movement, separating it from all the other movements that were looking for civil rights at the time. That was not the case before. King didn't advocate violence necessarily, but he wasn't opposed. And Rustin changed that and really because Rustin was a Quaker. So he did not abide by any kind of violence. And so that was an interesting thing. But Rustin was so much more. And it wasn't that he was out of the light because of he gave King the space to take up the light. He knew he wasn't the spokesperson. And he knew that King was. And it was that Rustin forged this pathway that King could walk down, which alienated a lot of people who, instead of hating King, hated Rustin, including some of the most powerful black men and others in America at that time, including Adam Clayton Powell, who was a member of the House of Representatives and was used to being the star. And it was Rustin who forged that path. And it was Adam Clayton Powell who went after Rustin and forced that split between Rustin and King when he threatened to say that King and Rustin were lovers, even though that was not true.
And you really see that depicted really well in the movie. And Coleman Domingo, who plays
openly gay.
Gay actor playing a gay man. He definitely deserves an Oscar nomination, if not the Oscar itself. I also want to recommend some important books too. Lost Prophet, The Life and Times of Bayard Rustin by John D'Amelio is amazing. Troublemaker for Justice by Jacqueline Houtman, Walter Nagel, and Michael J. Long is great, as well as 2 Times on the Crosses. Time on Two Crosses, the collected writings of Bayard Rustin, all amazing reading about him.
Completely. I have a question for the table, okay? So, I mean, he was all about world peace, even though Bayard was the one who, led the way, etc., right? Nobel Peace Prize winner, right?
King,
King was, right? Nonviolent. Bayard got to live to 75. Unfortunately, MLK did not, right? Do you think that with more time together, MLK would have been fighting for our rights too?
There is some indication that King already did.
Yeah.
And the reality was that King was not fighting for black rights. He was fighting for universal rights.
Human rights. Human rights.
Well, human rights, but also Rustin came to the civil rights movement from the labor movement. And King's last hurrah in Memphis before he was assassinated was for workers.
Yeah.
It was workers' rights. And the March on Washington was about workers' rights. So that was a big part of what King was doing, showing that all people that were economically disadvantaged deserved equality and
all
justice.
Marginalized people.
And to this day, it's still the largest protest of its kind to have taken place to this day.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we don't hear much about is, but King talked a lot about the beloved community. And that goes to Robert's point, was the beloved community is all inclusive of all of us. And so that's what he fought for.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay, well then in my story, and if he would still be alive, he would be fighting for women's rights.
Absolutely.
He would be fighting for LGBTQ plus rights. I mean,
He fought for women's rights.
Right.
He
Fantastic.
definitely did.
all right, well, I definitely have to watch it. It's on my
very
queue.
good.
You have to watch it. And read some of those books.
And read
Great
some of
books,
those books.
great
Thank you, Gregg.
Let's queer up gay culture. Gays in the Glades rule the Florida Everglades with motel, restaurant, and drag shows. Parkway, Motel, and Marina. When you look at the website about the hospitality business in the Florida Everglades, you might think it was a retro throwback to the 1950s real estate boom. But you know there is something different from the first moments. First, it's located on Chokoloskee Island, just 100 miles from Fort Lauderdale, deep in the heart of the Everglades, and just off the Tamiami Trail near US 41. Second, Parkway Motel is owned by two men, two gay men, Aaron Tabor and David Artelayan. Wilton Manors regulars will probably recognize the names. Artelayan was a founding partner and manager of Drink on Wilton Drive. He became interested in the South Florida Gay Softball League because of wanting to meet Tabor. He told that story in an interview on It's Happening Out during an episode more than 5 years ago on the live show at Drink. But they wanted something different from the hustle and bustle of gay Wilton Manors. We couldn't have imagined they would retreat deep into the Florida Everglades. Originally built as a fishing village in 1956, Parkway is surrounded by millions of miles of wilderness. The island, connected by road, is an ancient Calusa Indian barrier island and part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. There is a marina store, various types of accommodations, and a restaurant. It was the restaurant that really caught Queer News Tonight's attention. Yesterday, it hosted, in the heart of the Florida Everglades, a Sunday drag brunch. The restaurant is Have Anna Cafe, and the rural drag brunch starred Velvet Lenore, T.P. Lords, Lisa Renee, and Alondra Matthews. The DJ was none other than well-known performer Alex Ferber. The branding is called Gays in the Glades, and this is the first time we've ever seen anything like it. It's proof positive that the LGBTQ plus experience is everywhere. Check out everything, including accommodations, outdoor adventures, and an incredible drag brunch in the Florida Everglades at parkwaymotelmarina.com. Well, my husband and I have been living in South Florida for more than 10 years, and we still have not been to the Everglades.
Oh my God.
I know, shame on us. So this sounds like a perfect opportunity to make the trip.
Right? Okay.
Yeah,
and because it's these boys, I would do it. Okay. Because here's the thing. Like I'm thinking mosquitoes, Everglades, swamp, gators. I'm thinking none of this entices me. But then you say TP Lords, and I go Velvet, and I go okay. I'll follow those bitches anywhere, right? I'll follow them to the Everglades. But my point is that if it wasn't Aaron and David, I would be like, skeptical about it. You know what I
But
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Aaron and David, because especially
David's
David,
now
you
being
know,
a chef. He's now being a chef.
because you know what I
He's
mean.
like
Like
being a chef
David
now.
was like an it boy here, and people knew him. Everybody knew him.
I knew him
you
from
know?
Unity on the Bay for many, many years
So
ago.
he went to our
wow.
church. How cool is that?
And he was a science teacher. I mean, he taught science. I mean, he's a very interesting, and then drink, and he's really such an interesting person. So you know it's going to be interesting and fabulous.
Exactly, and good.
Yeah,
you know what I
very
mean?
good.
Again, they're in the middle of the Everglades, you know, and I'm like, are you going to serve me gator? I might eat it. I might eat it if Velvet is there giving it to me. You know what I mean? So,
Have you ever eaten gator?
have I ever eaten gator? Not
Yeah.
that I know of.
Okay.
Everything tastes like chicken, right? So, like, wouldn't I just say that? Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like a good getaway from the hustle and bustle of like Florida, like Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
So it just reminds me of like the Adirondacks up in I'm from New York, so like the Adirondacks or like the Catskills. And so I'm looking forward to actually going and taking part in the gay brunch.
Right?
Yeah, why not?
I'm all
Yeah,
about it.
they're planning another one for like, they're going to do like at least one a quarter or something.
Oh, that's great.
I love it. I love it. Good luck, boys. Next, let's queer up travel. Visit Lauderdale celebrates its natural gem, River of Grass. Affectionately called the River of Grass by author and environmentalist Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, the Everglades is one of Greater Fort Lauderdale's most precious natural landscapes. The swamp makes up 1.5 million acres of the Sunshine State and is separated into multiple parks, including Everglades National Park, Everglades Holiday Park, and Big Cypress National Preserve. Queer News Tonight invites the LGBTQ plus community of Florida, America, and really the world to consider not missing this precious natural attraction when you visit the Everglades this winter season. Everglades National Park is home to white-tailed deer and bobcats, along with rose-hued spoonbills, egrets, gray-blue heron, ibis, and other birds flying overhead. Airboats are the most iconic way to get around the Everglades. They leave Parkland and offer private and guided 1 to 2 hour tours throughout the Everglades. Each airboat accommodates 8 riders, and guides are able to lead guests on tours both in English and in Espanol. At Everglades Holiday Park, you can enjoy a 60-minute airboat tour. Rides leave the dock every 20 minutes, and they can also accommodate groups of more than 10 people. Plus, each ticket gets you access to the thrilling alligator presentation performed by the Gator Boys from Animal Planet's hit series. You can also opt for 9.5 hours Everglades Day Safari led by a biologist or naturalist featuring an airboat ride and 1-mile nature hike and wildlife drive, a boat ride through the mangroves, lunch, and a reptile presentation. The Everglades is home to the native tribes of the Seminoles and the Miccosukes, and they have an embracing LGBTQ plus community. The Florida Everglades is a treasure in Greater Fort Lauderdale, and you should visit to explore this jewel of the Sunshine State.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
We finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Tom Goss, An Evening of Music comes to Sunshine Cathedral Performing Arts January 19th. South Florida can never get enough of Tom Goss, and lucky for us, the singer-songwriter is coming back to Fort Lauderdale on Friday, January 19th, 2024, for a one-night-only concert at Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts. Goss has released 5 studio albums, 1 live album, 2 EPs, and multiple non-album singles. He has seen commercial success with his music featured on MTV's Logo TV. He won Best Gay Musician in D.C. from the Washington Blade. You would not want to miss this one-of-a-kind dose of entertainment. Tickets for the event start at $25. Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts is a non-profit experience supporting the community. It is also America's leading LGBTQ plus live entertainment series. Further details of the event are available on sunshinecathedral.org.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up business. OpenAI Sam Altman is gay and marries his boyfriend Oliver Mulherin. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman rang in the new year with wedding rings. The 38-year-old tech mogul married his partner Oliver Mulherin in a seaside ceremony this week. Mulherin was born in Australia, is a software engineer, and is a graduate of the University of Melbourne. Not many details about this couple are known, including how long they've been together. Altman told New York Magazine last fall that the two share a house on San Francisco's Russian Hill. Altman's first public appearance with Mulherin was at the White House dinner in June, hosted by President Joe Biden for Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in which the CEO brought his then boyfriend as a guest. OpenAI is loved or hated, depending on perspective on societal impact of artificial intelligence. But there is no denying OpenAI is one of the most important emerging business technology companies in the world.
Let's queer up the USA View. GLAAD, Frameline, and Newfest unite for groundbreaking queer cinema at Sundance. GLAAD has partnered with renowned LGBTQ plus film festivals Frameline and Newfest to present Cheers, Queers at the 40th edition of the Sundance Film Festival. This unique event will be hosted at the Acura House of Energy at 550 Swede Alley this week. The Queer Film is Activism panel at the event will showcase notable figures such as Alok Vade Menon, filmmaker Alex Hedison, Allegra Madsen of Frameline, David Hatkoff of Newfest, Deshawn Usher of GLAAD, and Natalie Jasmine Harris, director of Grace. Moderating the discussion will be Anthony Allen Ramos, Vice President of Communications and Talent at GLAAD. The panel will be an opportunity to toast LGBTQ plus filmmakers and community members in attendance. Another panel named IMD Pro and Prime Video present Intentionally Intersectional, will explore authentic and inclusive representation in the entertainment industry.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up drag culture. The cast of Drag Race UK versus the World is revealed. In 2022, fans watched as the inaugural season of RuPaul's Drag Race UK versus the World brought together queens from all over the globe to vie for the title of Queen of the Mother-Tucking World, with that title eventually going to Drag Race UK's Blue Hydrangea. And now, 11 queens will be heading back to the workroom for Drag Race UK versus the World series to pull lipsticks faster than a shoplifter in boots. At this week's RuPaul's DragCon UK, these 11 queens were officially announced, with the sickening season set to begin in the coming weeks. Get ready to begin 2024 on a draglicious note with Antraxa Castilla-La Mancha, Theresa May, Gothy Kendall, Hannah Conda, Jombers Blonde, Keta Minaj, La Grande Dame, Marina Summers, Mayhem Miller, Scarlet Envy, and Tia Kofi. That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, FayWhat? And on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the incredible anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Dr. Edward Summers, Dale Stine, Robert Kesten, and Gregg Shapiro, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you good night.
Good night.